Kev, you dig up anything more on Jetstream Sam?
Yeah, actually a bit. Still a lot of missing pieces.
I'll take what I can.
Right. Full name Samuel Rodriguez. Born in Brazil, so I guess that'd be more like Samuel Rodriguez. He's actually not one of the Winds of Destruction. He's not even a Desperado employee.
Yeah, didn't seem like your typical PMC to me.
His father ran a Brazilian Kenjutsu dojo.
Genjutsu. That's a school of Japanese swordplay.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Japanese immigrated to Brazil way back when. They brought martial arts with them. Those evolved and became their own offshoots. You've heard of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? It's their variation on Judo. Brazilian Kenjutsu's the same kind of thing. A different evolution of the old samurai sword skills. Bit of capoeira and some other stuff mixed in. Anyway, I did some digging. Apparently, the Rodriguez dojo was a big proponent of the Uridachi style.
Uridachi, a.k.a. Setsujinken, the murdering sword. Basically the polar opposite of my sword of justice.
Rodriguez Kenjutsu uses kicks, sword butts, even throws. Unpredictable and very deadly. Anyway, this is interesting. Sam's father was killed by one of his pupils. There were rumors one of the cartels was involved, but it's not clear how or why. After that, Sam disappears for a while, then comes back, kills the guy who killed his dad, and leaves Brazil. He travels the world for a while, taking odd jobs, bodyguard, cleaner for the mob, etc., etc. Made a big name for himself in the criminal underworld, especially in Central and South America. One story has Sam taking out a mafia hit squad, 10 men, all with assault rifles, using only his sword.
Not unheard of for a cyborg.
This was back in the early 2000s.
Come on. He did that without enhancements? And pre-SOP?
That's the story anyway. And he's a cyborg now, so he could only be stronger. Not to freak you out or anything.
I told you, Kev. I got a reading on his fighting style from last time, and my body's been upgraded. I'll be fine.
Yeah, no. I know you will be.
Hey, Kev. You have anything on that sword Sam was using? Didn't seem like your garden variety high-frequency blade.
It's not. It's a samurai sword. The real deal. 16th century make, handed down in his family ever since. Sam had it recast as a high-frequency blade. Doesn't say by who.
Is this something I need to worry about?
Maybe. You know the basics of sword making, right? The harder the metal, the better it cuts, but also the more brittle it is. So a sword's gotta be sturdy, but also just pliable enough to absorb shock without breaking. Walking that line, striking that balance, that's what makes sword crafting an art. Japanese swords fuse different types of iron, each with different amounts of carbon. Different levels of flexibility, in other words, so the blade can be tough and razor sharp.
And that gets multiplied when the sword gets the HF treatment?
Yeah. Basically, the high-frequency upgrade sets the blade vibrating really, really fast, right? That vibration acts on the electron shells of atoms in the sword and the local electromagnetic field. When the EMF achieves resonance, the blade's bonding is strengthened. At a quantum level, it's like the entire sword is made up of the exact same particle type. It also disrupts any atoms it comes into contact with. Say, those that make up the target. Their electron clouds shrink from exposure to quantum decoherence at the Planck scale. In other words, it electrically severs the bonds that keep the target's atoms together.
You lost me around the EMF part.
And that's the dumbed-down explanation. To be honest, even I don't understand all the details. Point is, an HF upgrade is like an amplifier. It multiplies what's already there. So Sam's badass blade might give him the edge. I mean, you know what I mean.
The original sword was really that good?
Sounds like it. Says here it's a Murasama blade.
Murasama. Sounds familiar.
One of the top 10 best-known sword makers worldwide, easy. In Japan, he is legendary. They say his swords thirst for blood, that they choose who will wield them, you know, that sort of thing.
Ooh, now I really am scared.
I know, right?
Where the hell did Desperado get all these cyborgs anyway, Kev?
Hard to say. They're not as rare as they once were, but still. Of all registered PMC troops, we're still talking, what, 3% have enhancements? Maybe 5% tops. Mostly career military who got hurt on the battlefield one way or another. Getting their arms or legs back lets them keep earning a living. But most able-bodied soldiers are still reluctant to sacrifice their own healthy body parts. Plus, the surgery is highly specialized. Expensive as hell. Not to mention maintenance costs after that. Unless insurance is footing the bill, most guys couldn't afford enhancements even if they wanted to.
Maverick's got some cyborgs. What's their story? They all wounded in action?
Mostly. I heard a few saved up and paid for it themselves, but just a few. There is this one crazy blonde guy, though. I heard he asked for a full body conversion.
The Patriots didn't leave me much of a body to begin with. I just had Herr Doctor finish what they started.
You know I'm just giving you shit, man. Anyway, yeah. Looking at the numbers, cyborg soldiers are still a pretty small minority. Not really surprising when only contractors in developed countries are offered insurance. Third world soldiers get hurt out on the field, and that's all she wrote. They can't work as a merc anymore. Most times, they can't really work at all.
Well, Desperado's up to something, because cyborgs are definitely not in the minority here.
I've heard of some PMCs covering the cost of the surgery for their disabled. The mercs get their career back, sure, but the PMCs aren't exactly running a charity. These guys have to work to pay it off until the company at least breaks even on them. Any cyborg breaks his contract early would probably be in debt for the rest of his life.
You think that's Desperado's MO?
I can't prove it, but sure as hell wouldn't surprise me.
So what kind of deal does Maverick offer its contractors?
Oh yeah, I forgot you're full-time too. You never contracted with us?
Nope. Boris invited me on board the first time we talked about it. We've known each other since Area 51. Didn't have any reason to turn him down, so yeah. Never really considered the contract route.
Right. Well, it's actually pretty rare for guys on the ground like you to be full-timers. Most of Maverick's soldiers are contractors, just like with any other PMC. It just makes sense. After all, it's never the same job twice in this business. Each mission has its own requirements. Force size, skill set, all that crap. So generally, we contract out on a per-mission basis, or a fixed schedule for longer jobs. A lot of US companies are doing it that way lately, not just PMCs. Besides, a good contractor can earn more than most regular full-time employees. Definitely a hell of a lot more than regular military.
And if they want to quit, can they get out of their contract?
Yep. Of course, just up and quitting right in the middle of a mission would cause problems. Just like any other job, you know? We'd want some notice to settle on a new end date, but... Hold up. You're not thinking of leaving us, are you?
Just curious. You still busy with all that other work, Kev?
You know me, man. Kev of all trades. I got a lot on my plate. Briefing prep, arms procurement, client negotiation, HR, biz dev, accounting, you name it. Lately, though, I've been focusing more on sales and on-site coordination. Oh, and advisor work like this.
Never sleep, do you?
Things have been better since Courtney joined up, at least.
Miss Troll mentioned someone from her past. Any idea who that could have been?
None. I checked her file again, couldn't find a thing. Definitely not Dolzaev. Probably not Sundowner either.
No. The way she put it, it didn't sound like anyone I've encountered so far. Maybe someone involved in backing Desperado.
If so, sounds like they're providing more than just financing. Maybe they share the same philosophy.
That'd be bad. People willing to die for their leaders aren't so easy to predict.
Yeah, but other than the wins, Desperado's cyborgs are all just hired contractors. They're probably emotion suppressed with nanos or drugs or whatever, but that's about it.
You're probably right. Miss Troll mentioned someone...
No, definitely.
No, maybe...
If...
That...
Yeah, they're probably...
Say, Raiden, where'd you get that hat you were wearing?
The sombrero? Well, picked it up at a souvenir store here. I guess I just kinda like the design. Also, when you're on a scout mission, it's vital that you use the local attire to blend into the background.
Yeah. I think it looked pretty good on you. You looked like some kind of mariachi singer.
Oh, you think so?
Yep. Only, that's kind of a problem too.
How so?
Well, I mean, that sombrero really is meant to be part of a mariachi costume. Mexicans don't wear hats like that normally.
Come on. The guy at the shop told me I'd look just like a local.
Yeah, a local tourist, maybe. Look, you might see a lot of Mexican men wearing sombreros during their daily routines, but, nothing like that. They'd go for something a lot more simple and compact. Something not all that different from cowboy hats in the Old West.
Are you sure?
I don't know if it's true or not, but I have heard one theory about the modern cowboy hat. They say it's based on the sombreros the original Western settlers brought from Mexico. Of course, cowboy hats come in all shapes and sizes, so you can't really say a specific one's the cowboy hat.
Huh. Well, now I know why the locals were so eager to get a look at me.
That wasn't the hat. By the way, Raiden, have you ever eaten nopalitos? They're typically called nopales.
Huh. Oh, like that street vendor was selling. Nope. Nopales.
Well, that's too bad. You really ought to try some while you're in the area.
Yeah, but it's from a cactus, right? Doesn't it taste all thin and watery?
Not at all. It's kind of like the flesh of aloe vera leaves or the seaweed used in Japanese cooking. It's got this really soft but crunchy texture, and it's really versatile. You can eat nopales as is in a salad, saute them, stir-fry them with steak, put them in tacos. You can even toss them in a blender to make some juice.
I had no idea.
Tell me about it. I got hooked after Boris took me to this one Mexican restaurant. After that, I just had to learn more about them. Ooh, for example, they're really low in calories. They also have lots of soluble and insoluble fiber, which not only promotes digestion, but is great for maintaining healthy cholesterol and blood pressure levels. It's even thought to help prevent intestinal cancer. It's packed with healthy stuff too, like vitamins B and C, potassium, and iron.
Okay, I get it. It's good for you. So how does it taste?
Huh? I just told you.
Never mind. Probably can't capture any food down here anyway. Not that I'd need to. My muscles run on fuel cells, and I've got enough blood sugar to keep my brain running for another week.
Well, you can still eat though, right?
Yep.
So, how about we all go out for Mexican once you're done? Food's a lot more than just an energy supply, you know? It's meant to be enjoyed.
With that, I agree.
Raiden, what you said before about your sword being a tool of justice, I just want to say I agree 100%. I wish all PMCs thought that way.
Glad to hear you say that.
You mentioned it was part of some samurai code?
Yeah. I didn't grow up using a sword. I fell into it by chance, during a mission. After that, I decided to train with the HF blade. I studied a lot of samurai techniques. I really got into it. Started learning more and more about ancient Japan and the samurai code. I tore through stacks of books, movies, anything I could get my hands on.
Somehow hard to imagine you settling in with a big bucket of popcorn.
What? A cyborg can't have hobbies? I'll have you know I'm actually a huge movie buff.
Okay, okay. So that's where you picked up this Sword of Justice creed?
Yeah. Most of it from a single master named Munenori Yagyu. He founded a school of swordsmanship on the idea that violence can be necessary for the greater good. He called it Katsujinken, the life-giving sword. Yagyu believed power isn't evil in itself. It's how it's applied that matters. As time went on, Katsujinken incorporated deterrence. It took on the meaning of winning without fighting. Or as I like to say, one sword keeps another in the sheath. That's from George Herbert. He was an English priest, 17th century, almost the same era as Yagyu.
Huh. It's a universal idea, I guess.
You could frame the same message as use of a necessary evil, but I think it's a good mindset for any PMC.
At least as long as there's fighting that requires us in the first place.
Which doesn't seem likely to change anytime soon.